Hey, this is Nolan North, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, and you're listening to Raw Dogs. And why wouldn't you be? It's the best. Sic Parvis Magna.
Hey, listen, it's the funniest thing. We talk a lot about what alcoholism looks and how alcoholism looks now.
Is there a picture of all of us together?
Yeah, like The Shining.
Yeah, you just get added to it.
And when you read about how people drank in the 1800s, it was literally the thing they drank.
Yeah.
Nobody would drink water. They would just drink whiskey.
Boardwalk Empire and Mad Men, they both said they toned down the drinking.
Yep. Because it would
due to compared to realistic standards.
Speaking of drinking, hey everybody, welcome to Hair of the Dogcast. The proper Hair of the Dogcast today. At least 3 of us are hungover. David, are you hungover?
No, I'm good.
You look fresh. Yeah. This is Raw Dogs.
What did you do last night, Mr. Sober?
Got him.
My improv's going to be bad.
We are part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. Make sure to check out all the other amazing shows from the Tokyo Beat. My name is Brad, and I love video games today.
Oh, I do too.
And you are?
My name is Dylan, and I'm here. I was going to say I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it, but I'm not.
You are queer.
I'm strange.
Yes, you are strange.
So in the
meaning of queer.
Yeah. So, I'm a bit of an eccentric, sure, yeah.
Yeah, queer as fuck.
Much like Cave Johnson.
Yeah. I don't want your damn non-alcoholic beers. I don't want your damn seltzers. Take Life seltzers and give them back. Hi, who's over there?
I'm Tyler, and this morning was made possible by Gatorade and ibuprofen. Nice. I actually feel pretty good now.
And a lovely
Monster Energy drink.
Yep.
Monster. Now, not just a regular Monster Energy, a zero sugar, ultraviolet Monster.
Yeah, feel the can.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's got
Stroke the can a little bit. It's ribbed for your pleasure.
Is it ribbed?
Yeah,
ribbed for your pleasure, yeah.
I don't like it.
It's got texture.
It's actually really nice because you can grip it. So if I wanted to go on a light jog right now,
usually when I
do that.
Usually when I hold beers, they just slip right out of my hand.
I know. I have such a problem.
It's like, why aren't these?
I'm just so sweaty.
Why aren't these ripped?
I was born with no fingerprints. I have no grip.
Oh, man.
You cut them off because you're a
commit
serial
some crimes.
killer.
It was when I robbed banks for a
The
living.
perfect killer.
And we have a special guest today. Who's here?
My name is David. I like video games and I like beer.
And speaking of beer, you brought some beers for us today. What is this first one we're going to be drinking?
So this one is from the Brewing Project, one of my favorites that does a lot of good sours, and they also do some IPAs, stouts as well. But this is their Punchki Sour, so strawberry, raspberry, almond, and vanilla. So when you smell it, you definitely get that almond.
Oh.
Is that why they call it a donut sour? Is it because of the addition of vanilla?
Can you say that word for me one more time that's spelt all
Punchki?
crazy? Yeah.
It's a donut.
Is it Punchki?
Yeah, Punchki.
Because there's not a U in there.
What's that
No.
mean? What's that meaning?
It's like a jelly-filled or cream-filled donut, usually had around like the start of Lent. So like Fat Tuesday. Was what
that is being rewritten. Now it's Overweight Tuesday.
obese.
Fat is an offensive term. So
Now it's overweight,
Bone
whatever day you
Tuesday.
want.
Did you hear they were trying to take Roald Dahl's books and remove all of the fats from them?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people were so outraged that they're like, all right, we won't then.
Well, they are going to offer.
Mostly we just want money. Whatever's going to
no, they're going to offer. They're going to offer 2 versions now. Actually,
It's-
yeah.
Yep.
Double the money.
Does one come with like Slim Fast coupons?
Butthurt pills.
Slim Fast. It's called just eating less and exercising more. No, we're going to give you these special shakes.
Yep.
the shakes that do nothing.
Look at you flying through the air like an eagle piloting a blimp.
My ex stepbrother, he was a chunkier guy. He played football, but when he was living with us for like a month and a half when I was younger, he begged my ex stepfather for like Slim Fast. He got on Slim Fast and he got fatter, much fatter. Like noticeably fatter within a series of weeks. And I was just like, bro, it's just not working.
You know what doesn't satiate your hunger? Liquid calories.
Doesn't work.
I mean, it satiates my hunger. We're doing it right now.
So Dylan, I already saw you playing with my little companion cube there. Do you have
like
strong
him.
feelings about it?
I don't.
Well,
I have controversial opinions.
The Enrichment Center reminds you that the weighted companion cube will never threaten to stab you and, in fact, cannot speak. In the event that the weighted companion cube does speak, the Enrichment Center urges you to disregard its advice.
It's we're looking at your Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game. It's a board game. Are all the pieces present in here? Or
yes.
Really?
It is just a fairly obtuse game. I had professional board game player Nate over here, and even he's like, I think I get it, but I don't think it looks fun.
Great. Well, it's a cool trinket.
But we're talking about Portal and Portal 2, as well as the rest of the Portal franchise, J.J. Abrams and whatnot, because apparently they're making a film still. It's been a long time.
Really?
A long time.
I just need to see more of Chell.
Chell. Hi, I'm Chell.
Hi, I'm Chell. I have no character. I'm a...
And originally Portal 2 wasn't going to be starring Chell. It was going to be starring Mel, which we'll get into. But Portal games, I am a huge fan of the Portal series. Sure. I played Portal 1 back on the Xbox Live Arcade when it came out, and I bought Portal 2 probably around day 1. So I have been a long time fan of this series. David, you've played them. You've got experience before, right?
Oh yeah, I've got experience all the way back to the original like Half-Life series, and then getting the orange box when I was growing up as well with what is it? TF2,
Yeah, Team Fortress 2.
Portal, and then Half-Life
2, Episode 2?
So
or is
that
it
was-
Episode 1?
Episode 1 and 2. I think.
We're talking about the orange box? Yeah.
What a fun deal that thing was.
It was awesome, man. And then
great
it's
deal.
like a good way to get your foot in the door with this new franchise of Portal, and like, hey, we're just gonna bundle it with this existing thing that's hot, Half-Life. TF2's it wasn't great on console, it's great on PC. But then introduce a Portal and you're just mind blown. It's an awesome puzzle game. Totally rocked my world back then.
And neither Dylan or Tyler, neither of you had played the Portal series at all before, correct?
Up until 2 weeks ago, I had never even seen anybody play it.
That I had seen people play it. I had friends who were playing it, and I at the time was obsessed with like RPGs and Elder Scrolls and all this other stuff, and it just didn't seem like my cup of tea. Otherwise, I would have obviously played it. I had the orange box, and I still didn't.
You just
touch
never
it.
played Portal? Out of the orange box?
No. I back then I was working a job and going to school, and I was in band and whatever. And my limited game time that I had basically in the morning before school was any game I fucking really wanted to play.
But you have now played the Portal series.
I have played through all of 1, and I got to some cool story beats in Portal 2.
Nice.
What story beats? Where are you at? Spoilers.
Wheatley takes over and Gladys becomes a potato and you're kind of having a little adventure with her.
It's a good time.
Well, have you seen much of Cave Johnson yet then?
No, not really. You hear his audio logs. Yeah. I spoiled myself. I had to. I mean, I'm going to
It's
show
okay,
up here
dude.
and get spoiled anyway.
We got another pair of pants you can wear.
That's fine. But yeah, I mean, I do like these games, but there also comes a point where I like puzzle games and I like physics games, but as I was playing too, I found myself, I'm like, I just need to take a break. Like, my brain worky thinky too hard.
Yeah, I made the mistake. First time playing Portal 2 co-op, me and my buddy John, we got incredibly stoned. And there's just one point, we're flying through the air and there's portals and my brain just is starting to like turn in on itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And brain overthinky hurt Brady's brain sometimes. Yeah. And yeah, especially when you're super stoned and you're just like flying through portals. It hurts a little bit. But.
Yeah. Not to mention you probably got dizzy.
Yep.
Well, Portal is based on a game called Narbacular Drop. It was a 2005 indie game released by students of DigiPen Institute of Technology. It was a senior game project of a group of students who called themselves Nuclear Monkey Software. Gabe Newell liked the concept so much, he hired the entire team to come work for Valve, which, if you see promise like that, that's a newer style of game.
They should be doing that all the time. Why are they not producing more video games?
Yeah.
It seems like if you have the ability and the know-how and basically just the good sense of what good video games are, and you see a team like that, and you have all the money in the world, hire them. I don't know.
Let them do stuff. And if they're like, we need 10 more people, give them 10 more people. Just keep an eye on them.
I don't care what they do. I just want Half-Life 3.
They can't count to 3. TF3, not happening.
No Portal 3.
No Portal 3.
So I had a dream one time that Half-Life 3 came out, and it was one of those dreams that was like really realistic. So when I woke up, I had this blurred reality. I was like, is it out? Do I own it? And then once the fog cleared, I was visibly upset for a good solid 45 minutes.
Yeah, that is such a fucking disappointing feeling.
I hate those dreams.
I do too. I really hate them. I have those quite a bit. Like, it'll be like, oh man, I read this fucking comic book.
And there was a period where Gabe Newell was teasing that Half-Life 3 was coming. And then eventually just got more quiet, and then just like, nope, nothing.
I think they're making too much money off Steam as their like downloader store, everything like that. And then the Steam Deck, I don't know how that went, but
that's gangbusters.
Really?
It's very, very successful.
So.
It's selling an astonishing amount. I want one so bad. I would get a Steam Deck before I got a PS5.
Yeah. So Narbacular Drop featured portals. They had blue and orange signifiers, so similar in that way. One thing they could do differently, though, is you could shoot portals through portals. So you'd be able to shoot a new blue one through an orange one to the wall. The orange.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
That's almost
awesome.
too complicated.
I don't want none of that.
Bendy. No.
Well, and we'll talk about Portal 2 and one of their failed design ideas because it would have been horrible, but we'll get there. The team is designer Kim Swift and writers Eric Wolpaw and Chet Falasek. Portal 1 came out October 10th, 2007 for the Windows and Xbox 360. Later on everything. It's a puzzle platformer comedy developed and published by Valve.
Yeah.
What was your experience, Dylan, going through Portal 1 for the first time?
I think it has so much of games of that time. It read as very 2007. Like, I was like, oh, whoa, I am playing an old game. Mm-hmm. It looked really good still, but it was still like one of those games where you're like, oh, yeah. I just remember being 17, essentially. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right. I kind of understand that. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It takes a while to ramp up. Those first puzzles are, I know they're ramping you in, but I got bored. And until like the ones where there were like moving platforms and you were kind of doing like, you were trying to make sure that you could shoot the gun underneath like a thing and it would drop onto a moving platform. I was like, yeah, this is a little more my speed. When they got a little more complicated, I really did end up getting into it. That first game is short.
Well, and that's why it was a packaged experience. It wasn't like $30 for this game. I was
If
like,
EA would have put it out, they would have put it out in 2 parts and charged just $60 a pop.
They would have
First
given
20 minutes
Plus
$60.
DLC.
Yeah, plus
they would
DLC.
have, they would have given Chell camo skins.
Yep.
Yeah.
You buy skins for the turrets.
only if you, that's what you'd get.
Yep.
That's a good idea for them. Yeah, I think Portal 1 is fantastic in that it's just sparse and it's just game design, and
You're through these like very sterile rooms,
yeah,
and they didn't have to work too hard on giving you like a visual feast. Everything was nice and shiny, and it looks like a lab, but they weren't burdened by over design.
Well, and I know that they experimented with a few different ways to have the rooms look, but they found the puzzles speak the best with white walls.
Yep.
Simplicity, make it very economical in its approach. And
There's no artificial barriers.
like you said, the first rooms are pretty easy, very easy.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of people playing these games that probably needed it.
Sure.
Yeah. Build up to it.
It's a tough concept to wrap your mind around initially.
I mean,
Well-
even in Portal 2, when I would shoot a portal and see myself through the portal, it fucked with my brain even still, and I was used to it at that point. So I could imagine for somebody who doesn't game often jumping into a game like that, you really got to wrap your mind around the logic of what the portals are and how they work. It's fucked with me for a while.
The one thing I always, whenever I saw myself in Portal 1, is I'd be like, wow, Chell has really bad posture. She's kind of hunched. She looks like a gremlin sometimes.
Yeah. You enjoyed Portal 1 quite a bit then, I imagine?
Yeah, it was love-hate, because at the beginning it's very slow, and I wasn't feeling it. I'm not a big puzzle game guy anyway.
Yeah.
But once it got more complicated and I felt like I was actually being tested, some of those puzzles took me a while to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a breeze, and I'm not good at puzzle games, so it probably took me longer than the average person.
My wife, who's not used to like first-person games, found it to be quite a challenge.
The one thing that
If you're not good at first-person games, you're fucked.
Yes, you are. You are.
I got it
super
on-
fucked.
You're flying through the air, which is already disorienting.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to shoot a portal while you're flying.
Yep.
Yeah, that whole move fast through the portal to go faster thing, I just, for whatever reason, could not wrap my head around the concept, and that gave me some trouble.
Mentally, it is strange. That first one you have to do where you have to cross that gap.
Yeah.
That one was, I was like, really? It's just like I'm dropping down and it's using like inertia on the way down to propel me to the side.
And when you think about it, it makes sense, because an object in motion stays in motion, and essentially you're reaching terminal velocity at some point.
Yeah.
Or as GLaDOS says, speedy thing goes in, speedy things come out.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, which is all you really need to have. I remember the first time you do fly in the air, GLaDOS goes, wee.
Yeah, that's cute.
What's your thoughts on GLaDOS, David?
I think she's a really good character. Like the whole environment of the testing chambers, as you said, is very sparse. It's very minimalist, but the character design, the overflowing story, or the kind of build up throughout each chapter, each testing chamber. You're kind of just learning more and more about GLaDOS, about the facility as a whole.
Yeah.
I think she really is just kind of like the narrator to Chell's just silent protagonist. So I think she's a really good character, really well done. She's like kind of towing the edge of being the villain and the just storyteller as well.
Yeah, GLaDOS is the main character. You play as Chell, but in the first game, GLaDOS is the star.
Yeah.
And while those first chambers are easy, what I always enjoy is just hearing GLaDOS explain things like,
The Enrichment Center regrets to inform you that this next test is impossible. Make no attempt to solve it. Fantastic. You remained resolute and resourceful in an atmosphere of extreme pessimism.
it's the language, and it's her sarcastic,
Just monotone,
just
robotic.
talking shit at you, which is great.
Yep.
One of the things that actually did kind of turn me off, I do like the sense of humor. I think this is one of those examples where that weird kind of cultural internet humor of the time really grated on me. Like I cannot play a Borderlands game. I tried 3.
Yeah.
I got it on sale, and I started playing it.
But it
and
looks
the way
like a comic book.
I don't care.
Go play Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, I'll get right on it. And I start playing the game, and I'm like, wow, this is cringy.
It's really kind of quote unquote edgy.
Well, it's
humor.
that internet humor where it's like, look how goofy and random we can be.
It's like 9gag.
Shooty McFace.
Yeah, it's not.
Well,
it's 9gag.
Yeah.
I know Borderlands is that, but to
No,
me,
Portal does this actually well.
Yeah, to me, Portal is perfectly funny. Portal 1 and 2, it's not like a Rick and Morty, like that one High on Life game where I immediately am annoyed by all of the talking.
Yeah,
like this one, I found it, 99%. I loved all of the dialogue.
They give you room to breathe. Like when they're like, all right, now do this puzzle. They don't talk to you for most of it. They might react to a thing you might have done if it's like new and strange, because you might be going like, whoa, what did I just do? And they'll be like, whoa, what did you just do? Which is cool and encouraging, but at least it's not like, I don't know. At least they're not making like Rick and Morty style references and just annoying the piss out of me.
Yeah. I could easily just see like a Rick character just talking over an intercom, just drunk and burping and stuff.
Oh, man.
And even that could have been done fine if it was written well, because they do flex their muscles with Portal 2 with new characters and dialogue. But Portal 1 took approximately 2 years and 4 months to make. No more than 10 people worked on it. First year focused completely on gameplay, no narrative structure, which you can definitely see. Like the narrative was kind of the afterthought.
Yeah.
And the reason it did become part of the Half-Life universe was because they just used a lot of assets that were around from Half-Life. And eventually they're like, I just write it in there, have it be part of it. Because it had the look to it. And so they were sitting down trying to come up with like a philosophy for the game. Like they sat around and said for like 15 minutes and they were all like silent and not getting anywhere. And someone's like, everybody likes cake, right? And that was it. Like they're like, yeah, that's good enough. And this is the one thing, if anything, that I think got a little too memeified. I don't need to see the cake is a lie written on anything.
No.
I mean, also, I don't think people are using it properly. When you just see cake and you say the cake is a lie, you're just being a nerd for nerd's sake. It's not like referencing, because the cake is a lie is written, of course, by Doug Ratman, who was a scientist at Aperture. And he was losing his mind, actually talking with companion cubes. This is in the background and also in a graphic novel, like comic book they released. But
Jeez, I'd never even read that. I should have read that.
He had to keep reminding himself that the cake was a lie and not to give in to GLaDOS.
Yeah.
So it was him trying to like maintain sanity, and it's not about just like seeing cake and just like slapping your belly and laughing about it.
Ace Ventura. Alrighty then. That's what it reminds me of. It's like if people who just constantly quote shit, and I'm just like, cool. You have a personality based on consumerism.
I love Ace Ventura. Okay,
Brad, I'm calling you out.
I do say like a glove when I park almost every time.
I also crawl out of a lot of rhinos' assholes.
Yeah.
My buddy, I was at work the other day, and he was poking through a ceiling for a light fixture. I'm like, dude, this looks like that rhino semen. Just like poking his fingers. What were you saying, Tyler?
I worked with a guy when I lived in Florida who used to say the cake is a lie all the time. And I didn't know that was from Portal.
Okay.
And he was a weird guy. He was smelly and just kind of a little socially awkward. Didn't like working with him. But
Don't tell people about my smell problem.
Was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
No, but he would say that, and then he would constantly remind me of the game, and he thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So going into Portal, when I realized
Oh boy.
that the cake is a lie was from Portal, I was a little bit like miffed.
Yeah.
This is where this asshole got it from. I had to listen to that every day for a year.
Dude, what job was this?
I don't want to say.
Store?
In case, because I worked a lot of jobs in Florida, and I would be sad if he. Well, no, if he listened.
You mentioned a very specific type of person.
Yeah, I just realized that. Yeah.
Knows you.
It was
knows
IT.
who he is.
Yeah.
It was IT?
It was IT.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm picturing you at Disney World dressed as like Captain Hook.
Yeah,
And he's like goofy. And he's like, the cake is a lie.
Hey, Tyler. Hey, Tyler. Want some cake? There isn't any.
I love that.
As far as design, when they did have rooms that had other items, like anything you could pick up or interact with, I guess players just kept trying to use the decorative, non-functional elements too much, and they're like, all right, get rid of it all.
Yeah.
Scale it back. Originally, they were also going to include a third area, the office, but they ran out of time, so that's why you just have the test chambers and then like the behind the test chambers area. The portal gun is your only weapon. Well,
if you
call it a weapon, it's a device. It is a Aperture Science handheld portal device.
Do not touch the operational end of the device. Do not look directly at the operational end of the device. Do not submerge the device in liquid, even partially. Most importantly, under no circumstances should you...
It's very simple, this gun.
Yeah.
You have 2 triggers, 2 portals.
Yep.
I think it's pretty fantastic.
It's a novel concept. It looks cool. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so elegant in its simplicity that you just one side's in, one side's out.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot of nerdy bullshit. I would not mind owning a portal gun.
That's actually dope. Yeah, like on display.
Yeah.
I think they make those.
I've definitely seen
lights
them.
up.
That, and you could also get like the Commander Shepard glove.
Oh man, I'd love that.
Or the Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade. That'd be another cool one.
Yeah.
Yep.
My buddy has an Assassin's Creed Hidden Blade, like replica thing.
Does he dress up like an assassin and walk around downtown?
Or at the Ren Fair.
But although I wouldn't be surprised because I think he still lives in Miami and they do weird shit in Florida. But he let me try it and he was like, all right, just be careful.
And you
It's like
stabbed your
real
hand.
fucking sharp. And I was like, are you serious? So I put it on and then I was like almost too nervous to pull it because it had a little trigger mechanism. So I took it off and that blade was fucking sharp.
Yeah.
Really?
Like
Did he
it was
make
like a
himself,
real
or-
knife. I don't know where he got it.
He's assassinating people out there.
He could be. It's Florida.
Yeah.
Last time I lived there, a guy ate another guy's face. So I mean, the world's their oyster. They could really do whatever they want down
Ooh,
there.
yeah, bath salts.
Yep.
Chell's face and body are modeled after Alicia Glidewell, an American freelance actress and voiceover artist. And Chell's father and mother possibly worked at Aperture. She was there on Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, we find out in Portal 2. GLaDOS is voiced by Ellen McLean, as well as the turret voices. She was just doing the turret voices, and then she did the sultry variation. And they're like, this doesn't work for the turrets, but that would be perfect for GLaDOS. The moment GLaDOS was turned on, she immediately attempted to kill everybody in the facility before they shut her down. And then personality cores were added to her to try and make her more amenable and calm down. And they turned her on again, and it took her like 8 times as long before she killed him. So it worked. It worked a little bit. The only other character you meet in Portal 1, you don't see, but you see their artwork. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen the Doug Ratman rooms.
Yeah, I think and this also goes into Portal 2 is, part of these extra graffiti, just little things laying around, radios, cans of things, everything that kind of lends additional it just builds up the environment even more that you're in, and it actually, makes it feel like, okay, this was actually a place that people were before and not just Chell just running through on her own. So, the Ratman drawings, other GLaDOS mentioning other testers before you, it really brings forth this environment that like, okay, there was something here and now it's all dilapidated. It's all empty.
Yeah, and even when she's mentioning other subjects, you don't have any reason to trust GLaDOS.
No.
But did either of you run into a Ratman room? You have to be kind of looking for them and poking around where you're not supposed to.
I think I might have saw one like around 14 or 15. The wall comes out a little bit and you can see behind.
Yeah.
And there's like drawings on the wall.
Yep.
And like I think there's a knocked over turret in there and it kind of looks like dingy, like a smoker lived in there for forever.
I didn't even know.
That's a good way to put it.
I didn't
Looked
know.
like a smoker's room.
Yeah.
I didn't even know
These
there was
walls
that
were
much
white
to
once.
explore. So I guess I never did.
No, they're just like a little room to go in.
Yeah.
And
It's just you get behind the wall at some point.
it's story, and it lets you know that GLaDOS is maybe not trustworthy.
Yep.
Another very important character is the companion cube. There was a level called Box Marathon where you had to use one box throughout the level, and people kept forgetting to bring the box along. So they're like, they just invented the companion cube. They just put a heart on the box and had GLaDOS write some lines about it. And people would bring it along, and they're like, well, it's not, if you hear it talking, it doesn't talk. And the companion cube, people are very fond of. I think it's a cool concept, just like humanizing a box by putting a fucking heart on it and and then making you euthanize it.
I forget if it was in the story somewhere or in a comic. Like the companion cube was made up of people who had tested before or something like that. So that's what the line is. If you hear the companion cube talking, don't listen to what it says.
It's a theory.
Yeah.
And it's because the weight of a companion cube is like the exact same weight as a person that is referenced. And there was a deleted idea in Portal 2, a concept that they were working with, where Cave Johnson would have had his consciousness accidentally put into a cube. And he's like, thank God you found me. I have been down here forever. And then you immediately run into a puzzle. You need to put the cube down somewhere to walk over. And you have to leave it behind. And I guess they just like, that's a little too much, maybe. Yeah. I've been down here for a long time. And I just also love that you're like, you can't bring it along. This is where you have to forcibly euthanize your companion cube.
Yep.
And it's although the euthanizing process is remarkably painful, 8 out of 10 Aperture Science engineers believe that the companion cube is most likely incapable of feeling pain. And it's just great. Then you do it, and she's like, wow, no one's ever actually euthanized it that fast before.
New record.
Anything to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And speaking of solving the puzzles, Portal 1 doesn't have a ton of moving parts. They have the pellets, the energy pellets that bounce back and forth. Mm-hmm. You'll have to maneuver those. You use boxes to move them around as well. There's buttons. Mm. Yep. Yeah. I found something interesting about the button. Please place the weighted storage cube on the 1500 megawatt Aperture Science heavy duty super colliding super button.
Damn.
A button. And also 1500 megawatts, like 1 megawatt can power 750 homes or something like that. I was like, I saw that as I had to look it up. I'm like, that seems like a lot of energy. And for a button, a super colliding super button. And yes, so you get to the end of the game, and congratulations, we've got you a celebratory lift to take you to the cake, and you find out you're about to be incinerated. First time I played this back in the day, I thought I was supposed to get incinerated, so I just wrote it down. I was like, okay, I guess that was it. And I thought it was a cool ending. Mm-hmm. Like if Toy Story 3 ended with all the toys dying, that would have been pretty awesome. But they didn't have the balls to do that.
Except for that one kid who did and showed his mom that cut. Did you see that video?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, a guy cut right when they're about to all be incinerated. He just played the credits, and he played like
You've got a friend in me.
But he played a really slowed down version of that song too. And he showed it to his mom, and his mom freaks out and like is traumatized. She's like, "That's how it ends."
Well, they all accept death, so I think that's fine.
They're toys.
But that's
a good troll, especially for moms.
Yeah, I would definitely do that to my mom.
Yeah, me too. And I'd be like, yeah, that's a brilliant movie.
I can't wait till I have kids. I'm going to do it to them.
Yeah, torture.
Oh, I could do it to my nephew.
Yeah.
He was just born. I got years to edit this thing.
But this is a really great twist in the game. This is when GLaDOS loses control, and she just straight up says, if you keep going, I will kill you. And she starts being very threatening. I really enjoyed the breakout sequence. This is like a big narrative thrust.
Mm-hmm. It was a nice break of the monotony of the game, because even though, like, I found some of the later puzzles to be actually challenging, and then jumping ahead a little bit to Portal 2, that game feels super epic with the way you bounce around and just how much the narrative really opens.
Yep.
So I enjoyed the end of the first game. It needed something to kind of pick me up at the end.
Yeah, the first part just seemed kind of like a proof of concept almost. And then they're like, all right, how do we utilize this concept in like a story game? Or how do we have it be like actually used for exploration?
It's almost metatextual. Like it's literally fulfilling tasks. That's all video games are, and they make you go through a series of tasks, and you get used to that concept. And then they're like, "But there's a hidden layer underneath." I don't know. It works. It's very good. It's almost ahead of its time because you look at stuff like what's that one? It's not The Binding of Isaac. It's the Stanley Parable. Have you ever played that?
No.
It's very Portal-ish.
Okay.
In just the way that it talks to you as the gamer.
Yeah. We do have a boss battle at the end when you actually do run into GLaDOS. It's interesting because they weren't sure what to do. How do you implement a boss battle in a game that has only had the turrets? I guess we didn't mention the turrets. They are these cute little tripod things that will talk in this cute voice at you. But mostly you just knock them over. I mean, that's the point of the turret.
All you can do.
And so you actually do run into GLaDOS, and you have to redirect rockets at her to knock off these personality cores. These personality cores are the only thing inhibiting her from being an even worse creature. So you're knocking them off. I do love it when you pick up the different cores. Like one of them is just like a freaking out animal. They all have different personalities. And there are a large number of cores we meet in the next game and then in the games afterwards, because there is actually a surprising number of Portal games. At the end of the game, though, we are treated to a song which has become as notable for being made by horrible high school teachers, forcing their kids to sing them in front of like assemblies.
What?
Have you never seen the videos of like high school music teachers making their kids sing "Still Alive"?
Oh, geez.
Or no,
no.
Yeah, "Still Alive."
No, it's Still Alive.
Yeah. Those are a little cringy to me.
Yeah, that's dorky.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
I didn't know that.
sure that the teachers probably didn't smell good either. They probably were friends with Tyler in Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tyler.
Hey, I smelled fine.
Okay.
It was the other guy.
Yeah, written by Jonathan Colton, sung by Ellen McLean, who is a classically trained operatic soprano. And this song was also a free DLC for Rock Band April 1st, 2008. So if you have Rock Band, go download that.
Right.
Dylan's a huge fan of Rock Band.
I do like Rock Band, but
Do you have the whole kit?
no.
Not anymore.
I played it on other people's places. I didn't have enough friends to do that. Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, the Orange Box, like we said, came out in 2007, and 2008 E3 announced that it would be a separate Xbox Live Arcade game. So you were able. So I definitely got Portal when it came to the Xbox Live Arcade as Still Alive, which featured 14 new challenges and achievements. That came in October 22nd, 2008, and Portal 1, I think, is a delicious little snack. I think it is a almost perfectly designed game.
It's a good intro to the series.
Yeah, when you told me it was a snack, I got it for the Switch, and I got the OLED Switch, and I'll just say that fucking screen on that thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
Portal looked fantastic on the Switch. And then I laid down on my couch and started playing. I maybe took like 1 15-minute break during the game, and then I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, on to the next.
Yeah, I think that is so fine that it is a short game. Yeah, it doesn't stay. Oh, stay its welcome.
I crave more games like that. Something where I'm just like, it's done. Just I get to feel the satisfaction and accomplishment, but none of like the mind-bending like,
I didn't have to put 45 hours into that.
yes,
Another fetch quest.
Yeah.
perfection.
God of War, Ragnarok.
Silly billies.
Excited to talk about it.
Am I gonna have to look up gameplay of this? Am I on that one?
No, we'll skip that one with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want you to just have to watch 45 hours to not know what's going on.
Well, I mean, I know the plot of the first game, but I don't feel bad being spoiled. I would just be asking a lot of questions, but
Aperture Science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive.
Portal 1 was very well received. everyone wanted more of it. The creators like famously did this presentation. The two writers are like creating a sequel to a game that doesn't need a sequel because they're like, it was perfect. Like we don't need anything else.
Self-contained design philosophy, perfect little package.
Explaining how Anakin became Vader doesn't make Vader cooler. If anything, it makes Vader less cool.
But it makes pod racing way cooler.
Dude. We should do a pod racing podcast.
Honestly,
50-part series. Now this is podcasting. Is what we'll call
now
it.
this is podcasting. let's do it. The lore of pod racing.
What is this?
I like Ben Quadraneros the most. He's the most interesting of the pod racers.
I like him because he has 4 pods, and his name is Quadraneros.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and that's also
Greg Probst actually voiced one of the two announcers.
Do you think that when Obi-Wan became a hermit in Tatooine and he started calling himself Ben, do you think he remembered the pod races?
Well, I think he actually named himself after Ben Quadranero.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
and then he probably realized I should have chose something that's further away from Obi-Wan than Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
But he's like, you see the Ben poster in the Obi-Wan series. He has Ben Quadranero's posters all over his place. And it's
a lot of weird stains on him too.
It's really dorky.
Why are they all sticky?
Qui-Gon just in the corner like, don't do it again, Obi-Wan.
Please, God, no.
I have to be here. I am a Force ghost.
Yeah.
What did you pour for me, Brad?
Yes, what do we have here, David?
So this is from Phase 3 out in Lake Zurich, Illinois. It's their German-style Doppelbock. Phase 3 does a lot of really good... started off doing IPAs, really small brewery, and then they ventured into other styles. I found their Doppelbock really good. And then they also have a stout we'll be tasting later as well.
It's a pleasing color.
It is.
I do love me a Bach.
Me too.
Portal 2 Lab Rat came out April 8th, 2011. It's a digital comic with 27 pages. Doug Ratman is a schizophrenic who worked in the Aperture facilities as a scientist. He escapes GLaDOS' initial neurotoxin attack, but suffers symptoms as he runs out of anti-schizophrenia medication, which causes his companion cube to talk. He notices Shell is particularly tenacious, and he moves her to the top of the testing queue, which starts the event of the first portal. He's the one who's the reason that Shell gets turned up. Because she is, like in her reports, like she's too unpredictable and might be a not safe test subject.
Yeah.
And then at the end of Portal 1, he sees Chell getting dragged back into Aperture, and then against the protests of his companion cube, he goes back in to help her. And he's the one who drags her unconscious body into a disabled cryo chamber and puts her in indefinite suspended animation. He is shot by a turret in the process. We don't know if Doug is okay.
I just picture him played by Charlie Day the entire time.
I could see
That's
it.
great.
That would be good.
I mean, I would if J.J. Abrams,
casting.
if Portal's film is just the Doug Ratman story with Charlie Day running around, and
Sign me up.
It's a scene in Always Sunny in Philly where he's like connecting the dots in the office.
Not only do all of these people exist, but they all are looking for their mail.
Got boxes full of Pepe.
Hey, Sylvia. I love that show.
the cube isn't talking to you, Charlie. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
That explains a lot, because when you start to, you're kind of like, I guess this all happened. Like, I don't remember any of this. I'm like, wait, did I miss like a cutscene?
The only thing that's problematic is the fact that it's Chell. If it had been a different character, but the GLaDOS is immediately like, it's you. Yeah. And she's seething right away. She's like,
She's had a lot of time.
Yeah. Before we get into, Portal 2 was released April 18th, 2011, and we're going to talk about that after a quick break to hear another amazing show from the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network.
Away!
Cave Johnson here, introducing the consumer version of our most popular military-grade product.
Hello.
The turret. How do we get so many bullets in them? Like this. Plus, we fire the whole bullet. That's 65% more bullet per bullet. This is the same technology we've been using on robots for decades. Scares the hell out of them. They come in hundreds of designer colors, including forest, desert, table, evening at the Improv. What idiot picked them? Then we box them up and ship them straight to your doorstep. so you can protect the things that matter most.
Good night.
Just try and get close to that baby. Your funeral. Cave Johnson, we're done here.
Well, because Portal 2, it takes place between 50 and 50,000 years after the events of the first game.
Yep.
50 and 50,000.
Yes.
That is a big window.
Yeah.
Good morning. You have been in suspension for 9999999. This courtesy call is to inform you that all test subjects should vacate the enrichment center immediately. Any test subject not emerging from suspension at this time will be assumed to have exercised his or her right to remain in extended relaxation for the duration of the destruction of this facility. If you have questions or concerns regarding this policy, or if you require a Spanish language version of this message, feel free to take a complimentary piece of stationery from the desk drawer in front of you and write us a letter. Good luck.
You awaken in a stasis chamber motel room, and there's like the pre-recorded voice. It's been 9 days in suspended animation. So it's clearly topped out. So it's at least 50 years, but it could have been 50 up to 50,000. Hey everyone, and we're back. Welcome to your favorite podcast about portals and beer. My name is Brad. We're here to talk about Portal 2.
Ira Glass here. I'm here to talk about a little something called aperture science.
Hi. Just a little thing we have to do here. Could you just say the word apple for me?
That was pretty solid.
That wasn't bad. That was a good Wheatley.
And you jumped. I love that because you just start hitting buttons when you meet Wheatley in Portal 2. And can you speak? And then it says press A to speak, and you jump. And he's like, okay.
How long did it take you to figure out who voiced him?
This was 2011 when I played this. I had no concept of who Stephen Merchant was.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Now, I love Stephen Merchant, and I just played the game a week ago, and it was like 3 words out of his mouth, and I'm like, hey, it's you.
What's he been in?
He was in Hello Ladies on HBO.
That's what I know him from the most.
Yep. He also was in the show and produced An Idiot Abroad with Ricky Gervais and Carl Pilkington, which is a fantastic travel show about a moron.
Yep.
And he's an executive producer for The Office.
The original Office.
The UK
and
office.
the US Office.
Wow.
And he had the Swan in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Yep. He did have the Swan.
IP Staker.
IP. Wait, no. What is it? IP.
It's IP Staker, like Piss Taker.
Piss Taker.
Or
yes.
PI Staker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a swan. Long white neck.
I forgot about that.
It's a swan.
I gotta watch that movie again.
It's good.
Portal 2 came out April 18th, 2011. The team director, Joshua Wire, and same writers, plus Jay Pinkerton. GLaDOS returns. We have Wheatley, played by Stephen Merchant. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great deliveries all around.
He's got like the perfect. Him and Paul Bettany both have like the perfect voiceover or like voice acting voice. In my opinion, they have
for
that
an AI system.
Yeah, they got that a little posh British accent, which is very pleasing to the ear.
Yeah.
And they're very quick witted.
Well, it was originally offered to somebody else, Richard Ayoade.
Yep. From IT Crowd.
Oh yeah,
Richard Ayoade.
Ayoade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that eats the popcorn? In the GIF?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not the vampire.
No. He's not the vampire.
The goth guy that lives in the dark
Oh,
room.
no.
Noel
That's
Fielding.
Noel, yeah.
That's the guy from the Mighty
He's great
Boosh.
on Great British
good.
Bake Off.
Yeah.
Can we do a
That's
podcast
the same
about
guy,
that?
right?
Can we do a Bake Off podcast?
We'll do a popcorn.
I'd be about it.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Have you seen the Great British Bake Off?
Yeah, because I like the Mighty Boosh.
Fucking rules, dude.
Yeah.
I love Great British Bake Off. I don't even like sweets that much.
It's good. You get stock photos of lambs and bees.
Yeah.
And, what's not to love?
Yeah, exactly.
We also have Cave Johnson, played by the absolutely fantastic J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine more perfect casting for that role either. I'm very sad you haven't had a chance to play through the Cave Johnson section.
No,
It's awesome.
Yeah. I watched a lot.
And
of
it explains a lot, too. You got to like good background.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I really missed out on some stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have been drinking. I had to please my wife. I had to take her out on the town.
Sometimes you just got to please your wife.
C'est la vie.
Can't play video games all the
Yeah,
time.
isn't that hard?
I personally aren't. I'm not happy when you're not drunk, Dylan.
You what?
I'm not happy if you're not drunk.
Yeah. Neither am I.
Gabe Johnson is the founder of Aperture Science, and we'll talk a little bit more about who his character is here in a second. But Nolan North also shows up. He plays some other personality cores and the defective turrets. But the development for Portal 2 was actually a very different game.
What?
It was originally going to be a game called F-Stop.
Like an aperture.
Very good, Mr. Film School.
Yeah.
But we know nothing about this game. They spent a lot of time. You didn't use portals in it at all. There were no portals. It would be about taking pictures and altering the pictures, like moving things in the pictures, and it affected the real world. We don't know anything about the actual thing because they locked that shit up in case they want to reuse it. I guess they were struggling with it, and Gabe Newell's walking by. He's like, why aren't there portals? It's Portal 2.
Gonna make cameras? No.
I would love to work with that guy. I bet he's a really cool boss.
I've heard nothing but good things.
It doesn't seem like he's an asshole. It seems like he's really chill. Is he a stoner?
Maybe.
Is he like a big pothead? Because he seems like a dude
Be a lot
who has
cooler
way
if
too
he
much
would.
chill. All right.
No idea on his weed smoking preference. If you know, email hairthedogcast@gmail.com.
Please do. I'd like to know. Is it a problem for him? Should we seek help?
We turn to drinking. Drinking will fix all of your problems by burying it under another problem.
Yep, there you go.
Push it down.
Push it down. That's a Homer Simpson quote. Drinking the one problem that makes you forget about all the other problems. Something like that. They also were at times considering this to be a prequel. They did want to explore the history of Aperture Science and the story of its background. And that's when they were also thinking about having the main character of Mel instead of Chell. Because
I forget, do they actually say Chell's name?
it's never said out loud.
No.
But
How did I know that? Is that just from cultural osmosis, or
you only see Chell, as far as I know, in game once in Portal 2, and it's at the Take Your Daughter to Work Day where they have the little science competitions.
Sure.
And it's all potato batteries, and Wheatley says some real snarky shit. But the potato that's grown up into the ceiling, the project was made by Chell. So Chell was there for Take Your Daughter to Work Day as a kid. And that was the day that GLaDOS was activated and killed everybody.
interesting?
Yeah, unfortunate day to bring your daughter to work.
Yeah. And become a test subject.
And I guess GLaDOS is like, I know I would work better if I had neurotoxin.
So how
And they're
long?
like, I guess we'll give it to her.
So then, how long was Chell in the facility? Because you're an adult woman.
Yeah, it must have been like the 70s when they had Take Your Daughter to Work Day, and the game I think Portal 1 takes place in 2010. So at least she's probably like, I'd say 40 something in Portal 1.
Isn't that the question of the game timeline is Portal pre Half-Life or after like Half-Life 1 and 2 happens?
I was thinking about
I
that
don't
on the
know.
way over here.
Yeah.
Well,
I was told it was between 1 and 2.
it's supposed to have taken place around 2010, Portal 1.
Yeah. Okay.
So adjust your Half-Life timelines accordingly around that, I suppose.
But Portal 2 definitely like way after.
But then where does Wind Waker fit in?
It's an alternate universe.
of cartoon.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So they considered using Mel, and they're like, that's just stupid. Let's just have Chell again.
Mel.
Yep.
But also then she's placed into the cryo chamber, so she didn't age then. GLaDOS does make a few comments. It's like, we're going to be doing this for 60 years. So I guess she assumes Chell will die 60 years from then. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, and then I'm going to start my new hobby, reanimating the dead. GLaDOS is really upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You killed her.
Well, there's that. She has a voice clip where she's the ending of Portal 1. She gets to save like the last 10 seconds or something of her life.
The black box.
The black box. So basically, she just relives the last 10 seconds of her getting killed by Chell like forever.
She's very excited to be back.
That would make me personally angry.
Yeah, I would be a little upset.
If that was my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're woken up by Wheatley, and he's waking you up because apparently the facility will explode if something isn't taken care of, and you do have to walk through GLaDOS's chamber, and you turn her back on while trying to like stop the facility from exploding. And GLaDOS takes control, and you're forced to start doing some testing again. There is a lot of new concepts. The puzzles in Portal 2, I think, are just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
You know what the best change they made was from Portal 1 to Portal 2? The lasers.
I was going to say the
No
thermal.
more
You mean the
balls.
thermal disencouragement beams?
The thermal disencouragement. Exactly. I hated the balls in the first game.
Yeah,
Those are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
and
just-
they like just fade out and then they just disappear. I'm like, I just did it.
Yeah. Now I got to do the whole thing again. And where the lasers just streamlined the process, I was so thankful for that going into Portal 2.
Yeah, thermal disencouragement beams are great. They also have the cubes that redirect them.
The mirrors.
The mirror cubes.
Yep.
Those are great. And aerial faith plates, they're called, the launchers, as well as hard light bridges. The hard light bridges, and then later on, what else? You had some other new concepts. We'll get to them, but
One of the things I really liked about going into 2 was that the world is more textural. You feel like you're in a realistic facility now. Everything was a bit too sterile in the first one. It almost felt, I mean, it was meant to feel like you were in testing chambers, but this actually feels like you're given tests that are actually, they mesh better with the environments and they're not just rooms you enter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You're
like that a
moving
lot.
towards like a goal of trying to escape and work your way through this facility.
Yeah.
You're captured by GLaDOS, and then you're like, okay, Wheatley's going to try and help you escape. And then you escape, and then ultimately get dropped down into the old facility.
Yeah.
Make your way up again.
Yeah, I'm almost there, and I'm
Which-
like, now I have to go home and play that.
Were
so.
you wary of trusting Wheatley throughout the entire game?
absolutely not. My first time, I was like, this is the best friend I've ever had. Wheatley is amazing.
I love his character, but I couldn't help. There's this voice in the back of my head, like,
Yeah.
So I was told if I ever turned on my light, I would die. I'm going to do it. Oh, this is great. Wow.
I never trusted him, not one bit. And I didn't know the plot of this at all. A lot of the turns, I had no clue about. I just didn't know them. And that's the part that maybe was the most interesting. I was like, oh, actually, I'm totally surprised by this. I'm glad, I guess, I didn't get spoiled for most of it. So,
But you're in the best part, Dylan, of like the old
I know.
facility. You get Cave Johnson.
I watched people play it.
I-
And I was like, oh man,
If
that's a
it-
puzzle I would have liked to solve.
Yeah.
And now I know how to do it. Great.
Don't worry, you'll forget.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that is my least favorite part of the game.
Really?
If it wasn't for Cave Johnson being the most interesting, entertaining to listen to,
Yes.
the gels are. I think that they're not refined enough. They feel a little too loosey goosey, and when you can start shooting around the gel, the white gel, and make anything a
And
surface,
make everything's a portal. Yeah. Portal surface.
Yeah, it's just there's too many possibilities, and it's a little less simple.
That's fair.
Not that I need it to be simple, but
No, yeah, I think that liquid stuff looks interesting.
I like the speed one and the bouncy one.
Yeah.
Like
Propulsion
those-
gel, propulsion gel.
once you figure it out, it's great.
Yeah.
And just those puzzles, you really do have to challenge yourself to wrap your mind around them.
Using the light bridge to get to places that you wouldn't normally be able to get to, and also using it as a barrier to like block lasers so that you don't, or I'm sorry, thermal disencouragement beams. Like that took a while for me to wrap my head around, like the new concept, and I thought that the game couldn't get much bigger than that. It's kind of like Elden Ring when you come across the Academy and you're like, this is endgame, this is as good as it's going to get. I saw the light bridges and I'm like, wow, they really topped themselves.
Whoa.
Like, I can move that?
And they still are introducing even more concepts later on with the gravitational fields that you can like float around in. Yeah, so when you reanimate GLaDOS, I just wanted to call out some of her gray lines.
Oh, it's you. It's been a long time. How have you been? I've been really busy being dead. You know, after you murdered me. Okay, look, we both said a lot of things that you're going to regret. But I think we can put our differences behind us. For science. You monster.
Just the dialogue is just spot on, and
Yeah.
the delivery. I know Eric Wolpaw, when he was making this game, he said, we wanted to avoid memes. He's like, after the cake became a thing, he's like,
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about cake in this game. It'd be too obvious. It'd be too easy. And I think that was a very wise thing for them to like kind of step away from it.
Yeah.
And we mentioned the gels. The gels came from another game called Tag: The Power of Paint.
Yep.
I don't like the title.
I don't
Tag.
like that either.
And there is
No wonder it didn't make it.
yeah. But there was a point of controversy with some of the dialogue. GLaDOS makes a lot of fat jokes. And some people were thinking they went too far.
Really?
Well, yeah.
I didn't think so.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. I
think she's like calling Shell fat. I think when you get out of the stasis chamber, when you wake up, there's like your outline on the mattress because you've been there for so long. But then it's just like this really big outline to imply that you might have been fat at one point, but then are skinny now when you look at yourself through the portal.
Well, speaking as a once much fatter guy,
Yeah.
I didn't find it offensive. I'm also really hard to offend, but I get why people.
That's just one example.
But was it offensive by 2011 standards or by today's
by
standards?
2011 standards, I guess I think it was much. I know it was much worse, and then they toned it down.
Yeah.
They still thought there was still a lot of people that said it was a little hateful. She makes jokes like,
She's also a villain.
well, and to me, as a robot, what are you going to make fun of a human for?
Yeah.
She makes fun of Chell for being adopted and for being
will.
overweight. Just real biological things.
Yeah.
Also, being mortal is like right there. You can make fun of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a really great sequence where she's like, guess what? I found 2 test subjects down in cryo, and they have the same last name as you. And she's like, I got a big surprise. You're going to be meeting 2 people. You're going to be really excited to meet them. And then you get to this room and she says, deploying surprise now. And the door just falls over. And then confetti goes, she goes, surprise. I lied. Oh, I love it so much. I made it all up. But yeah, she had some fat jokes in there. She says, most people emerge from suspension terribly undernourished. I want to congratulate you on beating the odds and somehow managing to pack on a few pounds.
Wow, that's funny though.
No, it is funny. I'm not saying I'm offended. I'm just saying some people were. I think there are people who now are saying like they won't watch movies with sex scenes in it because they didn't consent to watching a sex scene. But you
really
consented to
happening
watching
right
the
now.
movie.
Yeah. Who cares what you think?
Do these people also know that it is rated R for nudity and sexual
Doesn't matter, my
themes?
friend.
Like you can read that and be like, oh, I'm gonna be subject to some shit.
Doesn't matter if you don't like it, go. You don't have to watch anything. No one's forcing you to do anything in this world.
Holy
if
heck.
you don't like the fat jokes, I don't know, man.
And it's GLaDOS. It's the character, and you're supposed to not like GLaDOS.
She's a sarcastic villain.
I think they're making fun of most of their player base.
Now I feel bad about my Slim Fast joke at the beginning of the podcast.
No,
I don't.
Well, that's why we brought it up, though. I mean, that's another line. You're flying on the aerial faceplate. She's like, "Wow, look at you up there, like an eagle piloting a blimp."
Well,
and I'm like, "That's good."
That's a funny fucking joke. That's a good roast.
she has like a quip, but I guess Shell breaks one of the launch
launchers?
pads,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh, look, you broke it because you're so fat." And you're like, "Damn."
Yeah.
She has to turn it up to like 1,000.
Eric Wolpaw said he was kind of a fat kid growing up, and he had a really passive-aggressive grandma that these jokes are all based on.
See, that makes it
fine though. Like literally, if
People
your
just need to be
character's
able.
fat,
Yeah, it's
just get over yourself. Like, and like if you're fat and it's a problem for you, I don't know, man. Do something about it or accept it. This is my controversial take of the episode. Apparently, either roll with it or be butthurt. I don't know. I feel this way about everything. It's just like if you're gonna get offended by everything in the world, then don't do anything. Don't step outside. Like just hide.
It is offensively cold out today. I am not going outside.
Yeah.
It's not offensively cold.
Well, not from you, but I'm someone that is really prone to being cold.
Yeah. So stay inside.
It's my hangover.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you're getting forcibly.
Did you laugh that I said roll?
Yeah, the role was funny, but I also loved just the brief break for you to give all fat people a pep talk real fast.
I'm not skinny, but I used to be a lot fatter, and I'm gonna tell you, if you can't live with that fact
Live with that fat?
if you can't live with that fat, then get rid of it.
It's either all okay to make fun of or nothing's okay to make fun of. And
That was really enlightening. It really gave me something to chew on there.
Yeah.
Chew on the fat.
Oh, and we have problems. We're all alcoholics. What are we drinking next, David?
Another phase 3, pressed imperial porter. So they're coffee from Tugboat Coffee.
Tugboat Coffee.
Yep.
Smells great.
I had a little bit. It's good. This one's gonna hit me hard.
12%, I
Gotta
think.
Slow down.
Yep, 12%.
And so you're getting tested on by GLaDOS, and Wheatley is trying to break you out. Wheatley does break you out. There is a really great sequence where he says,
Okay, listen, let me lay something on you here. It's pretty heavy. They told me never, never, ever to disengage myself from my management rail or I would die. But we're out of options here. So get ready to catch me, all right, on the off chance that I'm not dead the moment I pop off this thing.
and he does a count to 3 and then he backs off once. The amount of animation in just a cube eye is amazing.
Yep.
The way it like closes it and backs away, it's
The lenses
very emotive.
moving in and out to show like actual like to simulate eyes when they didn't have to do that at all.
No.
It's really cool they gave him that level of like humanity, and it also makes you think within the context of the world that there was someone whose job it was to make the eye or the eyelid or the lens move up and down because people probably got uncomfortable with a cold dead stare.
Yeah. It's,
So they made it more human.
there's so much design and care in the entire world. Just seeing these original test chambers just overgrown with plants and to see them like falling apart and getting cleaned up, the level of animation you see.
It's a very Pixar aesthetic.
It really is. Pixar would make a
found
killer Portal game.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
super
movie.
refreshing after like the very sterile Portal 1, having like the post-apocalyptic overgrown hellscape that you're trying to navigate through. I love that. And again, on the Switch, that screen, it looked fantastic.
And Portal 1, it's great when you get out of those chambers, but when you're just going around pistons and they just made the walls yellow, besides that, it's cool, but it is not that exciting.
No.
Yeah.
And you get to see behind the facility. You get to see where the turrets are all made.
Yeah.
You get to see the whole process of, approving or denying the turrets and then swapping them out to, sabotage GLaDOS's turret manufacturing, and then all the neurotoxin. That's later on, but
No, I mean,
just getting to see all this behind the facility, all the pneumatic tubes where the companion cubes go. It's a lot of like really cool world building that you didn't get to see in the first one.
And you have to be observant.
Yeah.
Like you could literally pass it all up and not pay attention. That's the kind of stuff I like. I like when they don't call it out.
Yep.
They just show you something. It's, hey,
There's like one little cube in this massive like farm of containers, and then that's where the turrets are made, and then they just get shipped down, and then they get recycled. So basically, that's just a ton of waste.
It's great when the first time you see the box, like them boxed up for sale. I'm like, okay, so it is a facility. You actually see more things happening other than just testing.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great. It is a lot of fun.
I unfortunately found myself just solving puzzles and kind of running through the games that I feel like I missed a lot.
Well, one thing that you probably missed, because it's just one throwaway little piece of a newspaper, is that this takes place in the UP.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this takes place in Upper Michigan.
Oh,
Really?
Way up there in the boonies with the moose, eh?
There is right when you come into Aperture, like the lowest levels, and you see all these articles. Cape Johnson started Aperture, and they were making high-tech shower curtains for the government, and that's where he made his money. His father was a theoretical farmer. He never actually farmed, but he studied farming, so it was all theoretical. But Cape Johnson decided to move into other forms of science.
Are there a lot of wheat fields in the UP?
Yeah, it's a lot of woods.
So yeah, at the end you exit to a wheat field.
Yeah.
big wheat field.
I don't think I've ever seen a wheat
maybe
field.
that's just the end of the world where there's
If it's
no
been 50,000
other
years, maybe there
inhabitants
was
and everything's just taken over again.
You know, this makes me like the game so much more. The UP doesn't get any love, and I used to live up there, and it is fantastic.
It's nice up there.
Yeah, it's God's country.
Well, is there a lot of salt mines up there? Because it was in a
There's a lot of mining.
Okay, because it is an salt mine. The newspaper article says Cave Johnson buys salt mines in Upper Michigan for new science facility, and then it's right next to a second best new science award or something like that, and it says winner was Black Mesa. So that just plants the seed of why he just hates Black Mesa. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of just like little articles explaining where Aperture came from, right next to the take your daughter to work day stuff, which is awesome too.
And after you play the game through the first time, you can turn on developer commentary, which is
really
like
cool.
Huge. Like they go into a lot of like why they chose the design they did, why they did, these puzzles this way and like the character this way. It's so cool.
that should be-
like you got to do it.
That should be on every video game.
That'd be interesting to listen to, too, because it sounds like they kind of fell ass backwards into a sequel with them not planning to use portals and just kind of having a happy accident of a game. But a lot of times that's how creative works. You develop a cool concept and then you mesh it with something else.
Yeah, a lot of what story writing is taking a bunch of cool concepts that you like and figuring out if the puzzle pieces can like fit together.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what they say about the level design and whatnot.
I have tried to do the commentary multiple times, and I immediately just turn it off because I'm too busy listening to J.K. Simmons and Stephen Merchant. I'm like,
That's true.
I just want to hear Cave Johnson again. I've tried multiple times, but I've wound up learning everything from the commentaries just from Wikipedias and stuff. Anyways, after you get him off the rails, though, he says,
Look at this! No rail to tell us where to go. Oh, this is brilliant. We can go wherever we want. Just hold on, though. Where are we going? Seriously. Hang on, let me just get my bearings. Just follow the rail, actually.
just immediately. And there's a great sequence. Like, I can open this door, just plug me in there. And I love that he's like, can you turn around? I can't do it. I can't do it if anyone's looking.
Yeah. Do you know that he has quite a bit of dialogue there? I saw a video where if you just stand there and hold him, like he'll just keep spitting out lines for a while.
That's cool.
Yeah, he did a lot of improv. I guess they had to leave a lot of it on the cutting room floor, though, because he was making pop culture references too much.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Can't have that.
I'm glad that GLaDOS.
Dude, that's the name of the character.
That is, man. Hey, and if you're fat, no, I'm just kidding.
Dude, you got it today, man. See, this is why we waited an extra 3 weeks to record this, Dylan.
God, I am on a fucking roll.
You also, in this section of the game, run into the Oracle turret. You see it once before. It's just on this, like, trapped in this little section. It says, I'm different. And I heard that. I was like, oh, my God, this is scary. This portal is just saying, please help me. I'm different. And you can just immediately tell, like, oh, this one accidentally got some, like, better consciousness and is trapped. It's like a Black Mirror episode in a heartbeat. And you run into it later, and it just starts spewing off things from the game. It says, Prometheus was punished by the gods for giving the gift of knowledge to man. He was cast in the bowels of the earth and pecked by birds. This is foreshadowing for what's going to happen to us and GLaDOS in a little bit here.
Yep.
We do a core transfer. Wheatley takes control, and immediately he's like, oh, man, I'm huge. He starts speaking in Spanish. He's like, I don't even know what I said. The Spanish is, you are using the manual incorrectly.
That is funny.
This is when my favorite GLaDOS line comes in. So Wheatley takes over, but his original programming was pretty much to be an idiot, to deny GLaDOS, just overload her with stupid ideas. So she says he's not just a regular moron. He's the product of the greatest minds of our generation working together with the express purpose of building the dumbest moron who ever lived. And you just put him in charge of the entire facility. And then it just all goes to shit.
That is funny.
He is specifically created to slow down GLaDOS and to make things not work for her. Also, there's just this great side story that happens where when he was separated from you, he got a job working with the nanobots. And he's going to sue his coworker, Gary, because it sizes him that he's too big to work with him. It's like just weird shit like that. But you're on the elevator up, and Wheatley says, wait a second. And the elevator starts going down, and then you realize this is bad.
Turn on you.
He puts GLaDOS into a potato, which first time this happened, I was very excited. And
that became a meme too.
GLaDOS
Has
potato.
a potato thing.
Yeah.
You're a potato, something like that, right?
What's line? No, yeah, she has some line like, "How are you doing? Because I'm a potato."
Yep.
A great line she says also, "No tricks. This potato only generates 1.1 volts of electricity. I literally do not have the energy to lie right now." But yeah, she's able to survive. You drop all the way down to the very bottom of the facility. And does it make sense that Cave Johnson built these testing spheres as they like pass through the years up from the bottom? Sure, why not? Fuck it. Yeah. This is the salt mines from the 1950s, and this is when you hear Cave Johnson here. And this is my favorite dialogue in the game.
Greetings, friend. I'm Cave Johnson, CEO of Aperture Science. You might know us as a vital participant in the 1968 Senate hearings on missing astronauts, and you've most likely used one of the many products we invented, but that other people have somehow managed to steal from us. Black Mesa can eat my bankrupt...
J.K. Simmons is a goddamn treasure.
Yep. Absolutely. He's like, just nobody else could beat Cave Johnson. I don't think. Nobody else got to be J.K.
Go watch
Simmons.
everything he's ever done.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
I watch his farmers commercials just for fun.
I mean, if there was more of a Cave Johnson aspect to those farmers insurance commercials, yeah.
Then you got me.
They don't say that you can drive through a car wash, but you can.
Yeah.
Somebody did it.
A lot of what he says is just fucking out there, too. He's got some of the best dialogue.
Those of you who volunteered to be injected with praying mantis DNA, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is we're postponing those tests indefinitely. Good news is we've got a much better test for you. Fighting an army of mantis men. Pick up a rifle and follow the yellow line. You'll know when the test starts.
You just learn from the dialogue. Like, they started off testing Olympians and astronauts, the best of the best.
Yep.
And they started losing money. And they had to they just start paying $60 to whatever homeless person they can find.
Jesus.
For this next test, we put nanoparticles in the gel. In layman's terms, that's a billion little gizmos that are going to travel into your bloodstream and pump experimental genes and RNA molecules and so forth into your tumors. Now, maybe you don't have any tumors. Well, don't worry. If you sat on a folding chair in the lobby and weren't wearing lead underpants, we took care of that too.
Jeez Louise.
And they offer the homeless people a bonus $60 if they volunteer to be disassembled and reassembled. Jeez. Oh, it's so good.
All these science spheres are made of asbestos, by the way. Keeps out the rats. Let us know if you feel a shortness of breath, a persistent dry cough, or your heart stopping, because that's not part of the test. That's asbestos. Good news is the lab boys say the symptoms of asbestos poisoning show a median latency of 44.6 years. So if you're 30 or older, you're laughing.
Oh, it's just so good. The company, though, was struggling. And, they were involved in Senate hearings regarding missing astronauts in 1968, he mentioned. They suffered bankruptcy. He blames Black Mesa. And in 1981, he was offered the ability to buy these very cool moon rocks for $70 million. He was told he didn't have enough money to buy $7 worth, and he did it anyways. And this is a little bit of subtle foreshadowing and explaining how things work here. The moon rocks are going to be what makes the white gel.
Yep.
And
portal conductive surface.
They're portal conductive surfaces. And there's also just in the background, you can see that's how they make the wall panels. So that's very expensive to have moon rocks in all of those wall panels, but they do set it up, and it does kind of cue up what happens at the end of the game with the moon as well. David, what was your thoughts on the different gels?
I thought it was fun. I know what you're talking about, where it kind of, it doesn't throw off the pacing of the game, but it definitely makes it you kind of have to slow things down and like, manipulate where you want the gel to be. You have to shoot a portal and then it's going to shoot the gel across the room on the floor. And then you could jump on the gel and then get up to your platform and then do it again and again. But I think it really puts the level design in our hands as the player to manipulate the level with the gel, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to, use this path, get up here, use this path again. So I think it is outside of just regular portals. I think it gives more kind of avenues for creativity. Yeah. I feel like there was a section that I was up, we had to start really down low in kind of it felt like kind of a sewer level almost. And then there was a door really high up that you had to get to. So you shot down some gel. And then again, as the Tyler mentioned, acceleration, is kind of constant at some point. So you go down from a high point, jump down, bounce back up really high into a portal, and then just like go on, bounce back and forth. Like, I don't know if I did that right. I don't know if there was like another lane that I could have done to get that same result. But I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. Like, it worked. Why not? So it definitely gives you like different options to play the level.
This was where I got stuck for the longest in some puzzles.
This is like by far my favorite area because it's so cool.
Once you start adding, like, they really increase the vertical space that they have in each of the levels in Portal 2.
You get a lot of really good sense of scale.
And like I said, I'm bad at puzzles, so like Portal 1 was plenty at times, and I feel you. Once you're like having to manage all the gels in the portals and traverse vertically now, like, it took me a while.
There were just sometimes some puzzles I was just so far off, spending way too much time doing the wrong thing, and I was a little frustrated. Yeah. But
they hint enough at what you're supposed to do, but I'm kind of an abstract thinker, and using the set of tools in the right way has never been my forte. Like, I found myself kind of bashing my head against a lot of the concepts of this game because it's supposed to be like kind of algebraic, the way that you kind of solve these puzzles. And my mind is like, what if I did this and this? No, there aren't that many ways to solve the puzzles.
Yeah, there really aren't. And it just doesn't, I don't know if it's just not telegraphed enough, but I still love it. And
regardless,
a million times.
It's good.
And one thing that's really cool with these gels is when you queue up, the long speed, the propulsion gel, and you hit the repulsion gel to bounce, and you bounce again, the music does this. Yeah. The way the sound design is worked into those are really great. Cave Johnson does say, we don't know what element the repulsion gel is. We just know it doesn't like the human skeleton. He says, do not get covered in it. There's... this is also when we learn who GLaDOS is, because Cave Johnson keeps mentioning his lovely assistant, Carolyn, and he's like, oh, she's pretty as a postcard, but she's married to science. And he says, and he gets very sick from the moon rocks. Yeah. He starts dying in the end. And he starts talking about putting someone's consciousness onto like a compact disc, and eventually that's what happens to GLaDOS. And she's put in charge of the facility, and we learn, though, and she learns that she was actually Carolyn.
Yep.
Mixed with, computers and other things. Yeah. But her core personality was actually Carolyn. And there is, I think, the most famous Cave Johnson speech near the end here when he's talking about lemons. I love this one the most. Here, I'm just going to pull it up here.
Yeah, we have to. But interesting that, like, he dies, but then the VR game Desk Job kind of retcons that.
It's not canon.
Okay. Yeah, I figured.
It is Valve saying, we have a really popular thing we can just use to sell all of our products.
VR.
And it's still fun. And they bring in J.K. Simmons to do it, but it is officially not canon.
Okay. That makes sense.
All right, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down.
Burn his house down.
With the lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.
Burning people. He says what we're all thinking.
He says what we're all thinking. That's my favorite speech that he makes.
That's the greatest.
But you,
It sounds like me. I last night I was out at Sugar Maple and I was talking to some of Jordan's friends and I was just ranting about the song Piano Man. And I'm just like, play him a song and you're not going to tell him what the song is. There's this song I know. It's sad and it's sweet, and I knew it really good a long time ago. Can you play that song? No, I can't. No, you can't play that song.
You haven't given me anything.
That doesn't help me. There are a lot of songs.
Yeah, burn his house down.
And then it's just like,
oh, I like this guy.
It's just like,
That's what we're all thinking.
yeah, Piano Man, go for it, you key monkey.
So, did you want another drink, Dylan?
Yes.
You key monkey.
Yes. Dance for us, Piano Man.
But the reason that these gels weren't in the first game is because they were all turned off. You actually turn the gels on up in the upper facility.
Yep.
And you also see a poster that says paradoxes. It just explains what they are. And GLaDOS says, ooh, I got an idea. AI can't help but think about paradoxes. This could kill me, but I'm going to try it. So the plan is to get up to Wheatley again and to tell him a paradox. You get up there, and one of the first things you hear is classical music. And GLaDOS goes, oh no, he's playing classical music. He's trying so hard to be smart. GLaDOS, and you get up there. Wheatley is testing Franken turrets, which is a new thing he made, which is boxes with legs.
Yep.
And they're all broken. And he's super frustrated they can't solve a puzzle. Because, this chapter is called The Itch. You learn that part of the thing of like being in the body is you have to test. And one of my favorite parts of this is when you do complete a test. The first test is literally hit a button, and Wheatley just goes, oh, that was good. He loves it so much.
That's so funny.
But yeah, you get up there, and GLaDOS is like, she's just ramping herself up. She's like, as long as I don't think about what I'm saying, I should be fine. And she says, this sentence is false. And Wheatley is too dumb to comprehend it's a paradox. He goes, I'm going to go with true. It's literally not a question. Well, okay, whatever. It's just the plan completely backfires on him. Then you reach the part where he kills you.
Yep.
GLaDOS says, oh, this is the part where he kills us. And then Wheatley says, this is the part where I kill you. And then it goes, chapter 9, the part where he kills you. It's really funny.
I'm just reminded of like Friends titles. The one where...
And yeah, we get introduced to some new concepts like gravity, the gravity shooting stuff.
Yep.
These puzzles are all pretty great. There's never a bad moment really with the puzzles.
But it brings everything you've learned kind of all together at the end, which is why you don't skip right ahead to the co-op, Dylan.
And yeah, you don't start at the co-op. Mm-hmm. I just also think it's great too because not only are you just solving a puzzle, but you're solving a puzzle designed by a moron. So it's like you have to bend your mind a little bit because they're not well designed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there are actually multiple ways to do some of these. But when you get to the end, you actually have to, instead of removing personality cores from GLaDOS, you're putting personality cores onto Wheatley.
Yep.
And there are 3 cores you meet here. Space core, which is just space.
Just gibberish.
Space. I like space. I want to go to space. Which, if anything, would be a bad meme. It's the space core. I don't like just people will post like space, and they think it's hilarious. I'm like, okay.
I've never seen
very
that,
low
so
effort.
I don't know.
It's very low effort. Yeah. There's the fact core, which just says facts. I wrote down some of the good ones.
89% of magic tricks are not magic. Technically, they are sorcery.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm so down for that.
And then you also meet Rick the Adventure Corps, voiced by Nolan North, who just hits on Chell the whole time. Oh, hey, pretty lady, my name's Rick. So, out having a little adventure?
I'll tell you, it's times like this I wish I had a waist so I could wear all my black belts. Yeah, you know, I'm a black belt. Pretty much everything. Karate, larate, jiu-jitsu, kick-punching, belt-making, taekwondo, bedroom.
Yeah. What do you think of this boss battle, David?
I thought it was fun. It was, it introduced again the new personality cores. It was cool to just be doing overloading Wheatley more than like just trying to destroy GLaDOS again, similar to the first game. So it was kind of a change in how the boss battles are, the strategy. And then Shoot the Moon. That was fun.
What a great moment.
What a hilarious ending to have. And the initial ending was just going to be Shell just stuck in space. She's just going to be floating around in space. That didn't work. They cut to credits.
They originally had multiple endings written for this game. One of them could be like you die almost at the beginning of the game.
Sure.
And they were going to have a song written for each ending. They realized that would be a little too much work. But yeah, they toyed around with a few different things. And
did you ever watch The Mighty Boosh?
No.
And I brought it up earlier because you said that the voice actor that they almost picked instead of Stephen Merchant.
Richard
Noel Fielding.
Richard
Yes.
Ayoade. Very good.
But then Noel Fielding came up because Bake Off.
Oh.
And IT Crowd.
Because he has that sketch in The Mighty Boosh where he literally is the moon. And he's just whipped cream on his face. And I wonder how, Portal, the writers of Portal seem like they would really vibe with that show. So I wonder if there's any inspiration there.
I'm sure they were aware of it.
Some connection.
Tyler, how smart did you feel when you shot the moon?
Yeah.
I felt pretty successful because it wasn't the hardest part of the game.
I remember feeling like I thought of it when really the camera just points right at the moon.
They direct you to it.
And I'm like, should I do it?
Instead of like taking the incinerator all the way down the first time, you actually shot the moon.
Well, no,
the incinerator is in the first game.
I know. I'm saying like you played the game. You played the end of the game
I played
way this time.
No, I played it right the first time, but it's great when you actually shoot the moon and you do go to space with Wheatley.
I saw it.
And the Space Cube or
Space Corps. I was very happy with that ending, and it just shows the absurdity of portals too.
Yeah.
But you get the little you shoot it, and it takes like a good 5 seconds before it twinkles when it hits. I love it.
That's interesting though. Like,
how fast does a portal travel?
Yeah,
I'm guessing it travels at the speed of light, which it would take
also,
a little bit of time.
I was watching this in a playthrough, and the fact that I'm not behind the wheel leads me to a lot of questions. You're really far down underground.
Yeah.
You would not shoot this when the ceiling breaks open and you see the moon.
No, you spend the entire next part of the game going up through the history.
Yep.
Oh,
because you're going up through the old facility.
You get back to the top.
Yeah.
Okay, but I was just thinking that I'm like, aren't we really deep underground?
Yes.
That'd be super gnarly if instead you spent the game going down to the sewer only to shoot the moon at the end.
And what's this final beer that we have here, David?
So this is 13 from Surly Brewing. This is one of their barrel-aged series. I know I've seen a few of these in the store.
Fucking awesome.
Is it called 13? Because I suppose it's 13% alcohol.
No, it's because it's their 13th.
It's their 13th iteration of this series. So I know there's a 12, there's 11. It's a maple barrel-aged imperial stout with vanilla bean and lactose.
That is the best imperial stout I think I've had.
Yeah, that's up there.
Wow,
it is phenomenal.
That is so rich. I love that vanilla essence. It's just
it's a triumph.
That is too drinkable.
It's a huge success.
Wow.
I can't overstate my satisfaction.
This is one of my favorite beers.
That is super crushable.
For 12.5%.
Yes.
It's crushable.
12.5%.
Until
it
you
does
have
not
to
taste
throw up.
boozy.
It's not like a huge barrel age.
Yeah.
I would shotgun this can.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't feel gross after that.
I feel like a lot of breweries
instant
I would die.
are doing a lot of barrel aged stuff, and like personally, me, I'm over it. Like,
unless it's super special,
and this is pretty solid.
This hits that super special mark.
Yes,
like Goose Island has kind of gone downhill with their Bourbon County series lately, and it's just it's been iffy. So I think barrel age has been kind of overplayed a little bit, but I saw this and I was like, this looks good.
This is what you
gotta
drink in front of your family's fireplace, alone,
without your family,
contemplating existence in a world where all humans are dead, and you're a overweight woman who's got to figure it out.
Wow, that went in a different direction.
Chell.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice you were talking about Portal. I thought you were talking about your own life.
Yeah, I identify.
Yeah, Dylan was an overweight woman in a past life.
Yeah, probably.
This is like
dude, you drink by your family's fireplace without your family.
I mean, man, Christmas morning or Christmas evening,
suspiciously specific.
This is a good fall beer.
Yeah,
if I had this on a really cozy evening in fall,
snow outside.
Does my dad's
not even snow,
electric fireplace count?
No,
the leaves are all
then I'm
rustling and falling, and you're kind of looking outside, and you're like, glad I'm not out there.
But
take a sip.
How much this was?
But Wheatley is
like
in outer
$10,
space. GLaDOS has been reinserted, and she has this moment where she's like, what does she say specifically? You know, being Carolyn taught me a valuable lesson. I thought you were my greatest enemy, but all along you were my best friend.
We were best friends all along.
That surge of emotion that shot through me when I saved your life taught me a valuable lesson. Where Carolyn lives in my brain. That's it. I just deleted her. Immediately deletes her after she finds her conscience. And she says, you know what? Dealing with you has been horribly exhausting and terrible. Just leave. I fucking don't want you here. She's like, just leave.
Dangerous mute lunatic.
Yeah. That was one of the potential endings where they had Chell say a word that you had to like speak the activation, and it would have been Chell's like line of dialogue.
Oh,
Thank God they cut that.
Yeah,
that would have ruined it.
Unless it was like a turn on. It was like some really weird voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Troy Baker shows up to do one line.
I was just gonna make that joke.
Yep. Beat you to it.
Damn it.
And then you were treated to an opera sang by Turrets on the way out. And it is beautiful.
You're the King Turret?
That's cool.
Brad, do you own that on vinyl?
Portal 2 just released on vinyl the other day, and it was a stupid like 6 LP, $120. I'm like, nope.
No.
I want a really good 2 LP. I've got to the point now where I realize the full sets are rarely better because the reason they pare it down is because you just want those major iconic songs.
Yeah, there's a lot of fluff in 6 LPs.
There's a lot of fluff.
There's a lot of fluff.
I didn't spend that much. I did just buy Yakuza Like a Dragon on vinyl. It's going to get delivered. And I got the 2 LP instead of the stupid 4 LP because I don't need the stupid background music all the time.
Is that the turn-based one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dylan
Is that
hates
worth
it.
my
It's
time?
really amazing.
Is it worth my time? I have it. I haven't played it.
Play it, I guess.
It's amazing.
I think it's.
Is it really?
Do
I have to play the other ones?
No, you don't.
Absolutely not.
Because now that Portal and Hogwarts Legacy are done,
it's a self-contained story.
I need something to play.
It is a charming game. I just don't like the battle system at all.
We have a little bit more to talk about with Portal 2. There is, of course, the co-op, and you play as Atlas and Peabody. She has created these robots to do testing for her, and there is a story. This takes place chronologically after.
I like the little chunky one. Is he Atlas?
Did we get to the ending?
What's that?
Did we get to the ending of Portal 2?
Yeah.
You get shot out of the elevator?
Yeah.
Into the wheat field?
Yeah, and you get your cube thrown at you.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then she keeps testing with Atlas and Peabody. The co-op is amazing.
That's my first playing it that one night briefly with you was my first time ever playing Portal.
And that's don't start with co-op.
It hurt my brain.
Yeah. Well,
Brad's throwing portals around just willy-nilly, and I'm like, what do I need to do?
So the fun thing about the co-op is I think you can use voice chat, but you can also use like emotes. You can, point like you want, your other co-op partner to place a portal there.
Yep.
Or you can make timers. You can do all this stuff like that they added, so you don't necessarily need voice chat.
You just click the bumper.
Yep.
And it just points where you want them to shoot a portal.
Yeah. Or you have to synchronize pressing buttons. It's very intuitive for a co-op game.
The puzzles are crazy.
Yeah.
It's 4 portals. to solve a puzzle.
That's almost too much for me, though.
No, it's great though because you're with your buddy, and GLaDOS the whole time is like, "Wow, one of you is really good at this."
Yeah.
She's trying to pin you against each other, and she's like giving arbitrary points and saying how one is always doing better than the other. And it's really fun.
Robots, they don't do that.
What's that?
They don't pin each other against each other.
Well, luckily we're not robots though.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun when you play with a friend. It's different when like I played through it and like I play with Tyler because I either have to purposely slam the brakes a little bit and let Tyler think through a puzzle, or I'm just saying, do this, do this, do this, which I tried not to and I did pretty quick.
Well, yeah, because I had never played Portal before. I would like to play it again now that I've played Portal and Portal 2 and am a little more, more of a seasoned vet now.
Yeah. It's great because you'll trap your buddy in this endless portal thing where they're falling infinitely, picking up speed, and then you shoot the other portal and they just launch out of the fucking thing so fast.
I was watching clips of people playing it and that looks hilarious.
Oh, yeah. And you can put purposely kill and stuff. Purposely kill them.
That's called murder.
It's murder.
It's disassembly.
There you go.
They're robots.
They're robots.
Yeah.
And it is story. We'll talk about the DLC. There's a DLC for it as well. But first, a little cut content. Mel was the new Chell. And they originally intended for co-op to be Chell and Mel. But they found it way funnier to kill infinite amounts of robots. So that's why that happened.
Good move there.
Originally, Wheatley was going to get killed in the first chapter, and you'd have a different personality core for kind of each chapter. A cut content, one of the cut spheres was the Morgan Freeman sphere. And it would have talked like Morgan Freeman.
Oh, jeez.
So they cut that because they couldn't afford that many voice actors, or was it going to be impressionists?
They just found that it was better to have one.
Yeah,
it would have been bogged down.
But that ends
too
up
much.
being a pop culture reference anyway.
Yeah.
And it's a little too timely, but they wouldn't have called it the Morgan Freeman sphere. They might have just called it like the Red Sphere or the Morgan Sphere or something like that.
The red from
the Freeman sphere.
The Freeman sphere, but
there you go.
The point of his sphere was that this sphere was locked in one room for its entire life. So it is incredibly wise and knowledgeable about these four walls and everything in the room. And the moment you take it out of the room, well, I don't know anymore. and the sphere's going through like a personality crisis of not. It's what is it? The cave. I think it's Plato's philosophical conundrum, where if you've been in a cave looking at shadows, yeah, and then it's like, fuck.
That's actually really smart.
But then I guess later on, he would start waxing philosophical about new things he's seeing based on what he's learned from his one room. And he kind of like becomes wise again by comparing everything, much like the Eastern Wall back in that room. And another personality, the only other one that they have mentioned for sure would be Quint from Jaws. Hey, don't go in the portal.
Like doll's eyes.
Like turret's eyes. Yeah, I mentioned they were going to have multiple endings, each with their own songs. One was 2 minutes into the game. One was Chell saying her first word. And originally, there was going to be a story where Chell would find a tribe of lost turrets.
Animal King turret.
Yeah, like they would have had their own civilization out in the wild, and she would have married one of them.
And I think they would have like joined you on the rest of the game, something like that.
The Animal King would marry Chell to a turret, and the turret would actually be the female. Chell would be the male, I guess, is how it was going to go. But I'm like, that sounds really cool. Like just to find a bunch of turrets living in harmony and you like integrate with them. But that's where the Animal King came from. They were just like throwing out weird turret designs, and someone just put like a leopard print on one of the turrets, and they're like, everyone's like, we agree.
That works.
Yeah. We like this. And that's why in some of the beginning of test chambers, there's like one giant Animal King turret in Congress, and it's like mowing down little people. I love it.
Which also reappears at the end song. Or do you see the big Animal King turret?
You do. Yep. And there's one that is like a little rounder. That would have been your wife. Oh. That would have been the one you married. There is DLC for this game. There was one specifically for the PlayStation 3 called 6 Sense. 12 single-player levels, and there was new abilities called... there was one called 1-to-1, where you could hold objects further away. You could like push them further away from you to do like certain puzzles.
It's like the gravity gun, and
it's just, I guess I don't know. I haven't played.
It's like Wingardium Leviosa.
Whoa!
I mean, I have a high tolerance for nerdy bullshit, Tyler.
The fact that you made us both like sigh and look off into the distance.
I cannot tell you how happy that made me.
I'm the one who's supposed to make Dylan sigh. I'm the one who makes him exasperated.
Both of you sigh there.
I watched the movie. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Now I'm sighing, Dylan. Stop. There was portal surfing where you could move and rotate portals after you shoot them. Horrible concept. And then scaling where you could alter the dimensions of boxes. That's just a DLC specifically for one console, not important. The big DLC is Peer Review. It came October 4th, 2011. Free expansion of the co-op experience. A mysterious intruder has gained control of a mainframe chassis and is a threat to the facility. And she sends our 2 robots down to handle this intruder. When you get there at the end, it is the bird, which has made a nest on a keyboard and is accidentally like fucking with the facility. And like, it's so great. GLaDOS before they quench, like, everyone just be
Which
careful.
one is Atlas and which one is Peabody? Is Peabody the little guy?
So hold on one sec.
Because I like the little guy. I like playing as the little guy.
That would make sense in my brain because he's got a small little circle torso.
So Atlas is the round one with the blue eye. Peabody, he's based on a sentry turret. He's orange.
He's tall. Yeah.
What is it, like Abbott and Costello? They're kind of based on the skinny and the fat.
Yeah.
Laurel and Hardy.
Well, Laurel and Hardy is who I was thinking of. Yeah.
So whoever hosts the game plays as
went to his
Atlas, and then the
museum.
guest plays as Peabody. So if you ever wanted to,
If you want a specific character,
Yeah.
Dylan.
Did I ever tell you? I went to
You
the
did not.
Hardy Museum. The Hardy Museum.
Great
in-
breakfast sandwiches.
In Harlem, Georgia, where my buddy was stationed in the Navy when I was still in college.
Wow.
And it's literally...
I never know what you're going to say sometimes, man.
And you go in there, and it's full of dolls of Laurel and Hardy.
It sounds like a horror film.
And he was born in Harlem, Georgia. But here's the thing. 1 year of his life, he was a baby. And they have a whole museum for him.
What's like going
in that town?
What's like going to Economwalk and they have the Wizard of Oz fucking everywhere out there
I
because
don't-
it was like where the movie was showed for the first time.
Oh my God, really?
It was like I think that's what it is. Even Carly doesn't know, and she fucking grew up there.
sorry, I'm a lot.
Seems strange. But yeah, that Laurel and Hardy museum, I was just like, we go into this like scary place full of creepy dolls.
And
then-
you were like all into it, I'm sure.
Oh, I was so down to clown.
Yeah.
At that point, I was drunk, and I remember because it was really hot out. I walked in, and then they're like, "Well, do you want to see some Laurel and Hardy shorts?" I'm like, "Everyone." I looked at the people I was with, and I said, "Well, we're doing it whether or not you like it." And so they take us to this back room with a projector, and then they set us up, and we literally spent 2 hours watching Laurel and Hardy shorts.
Sounds okay. Sounds fine.
And I had an open beer, and I was sitting there. I was laughing. It was the best experience.
Anyways,
But they so she's even like giving a pep speech to the robots before they go in, and she's like, if anything goes wrong, just get out of there because she's terrified of this bird.
this is the bird that took her
This is the same
as
bird.
the potato.
Yep, and she sees.
Oh, I remember that.
And she sees what she
That's the
sees.
same bird?
Yeah,
This
the
is
same
that's the
bird.
villain. This is the
Oh,
villain.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope.
And the bird is sitting on some eggs, and she goes, "Oh my God, she's gestating a clone army." It immediately goes wrong, and a gun starts going off, and she just tells everyone to. She's like, "Panic and get out of here!" But they're stopped, and then she decides to raise the birds as her own. She wants them to be her little killing machines. And the bird is gone. But there's also the Perpetual Testing Initiative, released May 8th, 2012. Computers only, level editor, free for all.
Oh, damn. Like Mario Maker Portal.
Or like a Gary's mod.
Yes, probably similar to Gary's mod.
I'm going to go with David on this one because I don't know what that means.
You don't know what Gary's mod is?
It's like Half-Life tools.
They
Okay.
basically they gave you like an open source
Yeah.
kind of thing where you could play around with all of the assets, no matter what they were, for Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. I spent a
Didn't
lot
some
of
games
time.
get created based on that? Like
Yes.
they became full-fledged games?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Black
spent
Mesa?
I spent a lot of time in Gary's mod because my friends in high school, like they were like computer whizzes and I didn't know jack squat. And so I would sit there at their computer. They're like, "Dylan, make something weird." And I was just like, really? Just
I remember
anything?
seeing like a ton of stuff on YouTube of Gary's mod, just like the most wild
You
shit.
can pose them doing certain things. I would make like weird mazes where it would literally just be like the G-Man having sex with Gordon Freeman. It's like the hall of weird sex. And
one
it was
last
the
thing on
funniest
Portal
thing.
2. There was one cut gel that would allow you to run up walls.
Oh, nice.
And it was supposedly, even for the most hardened, like professional veteran players, the most disorienting fucking weird
impossible.
shit. Because you're all of a sudden able to run up these rooms and shoot portals at different things.
Sure.
It's supposed to be horrible. We are going to talk about the other 4 or 5 games. There are more to talk about. We're going to do it in Doggies After Dark.
Add a few things, Brad.
Okay.
So on peer review, there was also a challenge mode added, which has players trying to complete specific chambers with the shortest time or fewest portals used. There were leaderboards that tracked overall stats and also stats on your friends list. So it's kind of cool.
That's actually nice.
Better than you, Dylan.
Perpetual Testing Initiative was the free update for Windows and Mac with the level editor. The first few days of release saw 35,000 maps being created by the community with 1.3 million downloads.
And 2 of them were playable.
After a month, more than 150,000 maps were available, initially limited to single-player maps, but there was an August 12th patch to the tool that allowed levels for co-op to be created. Also, a Thinking with Portals competition that provided prizes for the most selected maps as well. So
I like prizes.
Yeah,
I
everybody
like
loves
that
prizes.
level of interactivity.
I wonder if somebody won a portal gun.
I didn't mention the cake is actually a real cake too.
It's cake.
Outside of the next to the studio, there's a bakery.
The Black Forest cake.
The Black Forest cake. They actually model it after a real cake, and all the ingredients are hidden in different parts throughout the game. The recipe.
Yep.
And I'm sure that bakery did very well.
They had to have.
And we're going to talk about the rest of the Portal stuff. We're going to save that for a Doggies After Dark, though. So if you want access to our little bonus episode, reach out to us on patreon.com/sharethe-dogcast. Reach out to us by spending money, please. For the $3 tier, you get access to all of our main episodes early. At the $5 tier, you'll get access to, what is that, bonus episodes?
The best bonus episodes.
The best bonus episodes.
Dylan's OnlyFans.
You get access to, to the $10 tiers where Doggies After Dark is. And it's probably our most irreverent, most fun. We do sometimes have focus topics.
That's where our Renaissance episode is, right? That neither one of us have memory of recording nor have ever heard.
I only have memories of posting it. I don't remember recording it. But if you ever want to hear Mia and Devin on an episode, that is the only opportunity thus far.
All I can remember is I said, you're real good at catching because you knocked over your bookshelf and you caught some shit.
Oh, dang.
Not the whole bookshelf.
No, just like a couple games. And you caught them. Drunk. I was impressed.
Nice.
But yeah, so if you want access to those, check out our Patreon. Yep, we're on Facebook and Instagram at Hair the Dogcast. We're on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Next week, Elden Dogs is going to return. Very excited to finally talk about the Halig Tree. And then we're going to have an exclusive Patreon episode. So if you're at the $5 tier, you get our God of War Ragnarok episode because that's exclusive. And we don't know what the next Raw Dogs is because it's currently being voted on by Patreon members. It's either
Get involved.
It's either Great Gamers in History, Alexei Pajitnov, which I really want to talk about the Cold War. Like that'll be fun. It would.
Is this a Tetris story?
What's that?
Tetris story?
He's the guy who made Tetris. And
Have you seen that movie coming out?
it looks good, and it's a true story, which is even crazier.
Taron Egerton.
And
you want to see it, guys? You want to do like an outing?
Yeah. Also, I want to watch The Wizard. I've never seen The Wizard.
You've never seen The Wizard?
No.
I'll watch it with you. I don't think it's good, but yeah, I'll
If it
watch
gets scary, hold my hand.
Yeah, I mean, like some of those Mario Brothers levels, pretty rough.
Is that a power glove? Or are you excited to see me? Yes. So check all that out, and we're part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. They're great. And before we leave, just from our Discord, real quick, we have on Portal 1 and 2. Ryan said, played Portal 1. It was fun. And I told Ryan not to be controversial on his opinions. But
Dang.
Can't stop the man, though.
Yeah.
he just is like throwing it down pretty thick on that one. Kip's girlfriend Allie says Portal 2 is a superior game. The fact that it's multiplayer has multiplayer alone makes it way better. Bridges, goo, barriers, beams. Portal 2 has more and better mechanics. And Phil said,
Hi, Allie. Hope you're listening.
and very drunkenly last night, way too early to be drunk, but I was on our Discord and I'm like, Phil, write a 4-sentence review for Portal. And he did.
Good.
It was very good.
Yeah.
He said, Portal and Portal 2 belong in the upper echelon of gaming. Portal at first feels like a tech demo, and at some point along the way becomes a masterclass in physics-based game design, topped off with humor and background lore. Portal 2 continues and builds upon Portal with more engaging level design and deeper story. Oh, and cake. Thank you, Phil. Okay. Yeah, fucking, that was great.
Pretty good.
That was awesome, Phil. Thank you.
You can skip our entire episode and just read
that was
sentence review.
That was concise as shit.
Yeah.
Like I was even impressed. I'm like, all right, man. I ramble when I review things. So,
But I am very excited to talk about Aperture Desk Job, Aperture Hand Lab, Bridge Constructor, The Lab, board games, the film, and other stuff. There is a fair amount of other things to mention, more personality cores, but that's for Doggies After Dark, which we'll be right back if you're a Patreon member. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and be nice to your personality cores. Well, I don't know, what else we guys?
be good to your companion cube.
Yeah.
It's okay to be fat.
It really is. It's really okay. But don't get offended.
Dylan, give us a pep talk.
All right. Listen, if you're fat and you know it, everyone else knows it too. They're not offended by it.
Then your face will surely show it.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
I just watched The Whale the other day.
I want to see it so bad.
Is it good?
I didn't love it.
Is it a Dylan movie? Is it?
It's very much on the nose.
Where'd you
But
read
it's
that?
like it's like it doesn't cut away ever, and that's kind of what makes it hard to watch.
Well, he has a heart attack jerking off in the opening scene, right?
Well, way to spoil it, Dylan.
I mean,
It's
but
the
honestly,
opening
who hasn't
scene,
been
I
there?
yeah.
It's they open and then it's like, oh, okay.
That's all I've heard about it, and I said, yes, this is a Dylan movie.
Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except I wasn't laughing. Under the circumstances, I've been shockingly nice.